One element of music that's important is cooperation and trying to make something work so it really gets to that point. When you see that happen, then you can try to work things out. It's one thing, yes, to go on a stage and boom, play music, but it's another thing to play Beethoven with all the different nuances that you can get in. I think a long time ago, not to judge it that way, and also to try to think about that a lot of that reaction can come from the way you feel about yourself. You're like, I don't know anything about this, rather than let me listen to what these guys are talking about and see if I can fit into it and understand what it is.
It's so much fun to learn about other cultures. Now we are a very diverse orchestra, and everybody has something to offer. And the beauty is that you are actually invited. Please share this with us and show us what you are and show us who you are. So I think it's just an amazing learning experience. That's the funnest part.
Ich glaube, es gibt eine Frustration. Sie hatten unglaubliche Ideen, sie hatten Visionen, wir hatten einen Körperworkshop, wir sollten uns mit Instrumenten auf den Händen tragen gegenseitig und das findet jetzt alles nicht statt. Dafür werden die Bühnen verändert. Es wird eine Bühne geben mit Armen und wir werden uns in dem Sinne treu bleiben, dass wir ohne Noten spielen, dass wir keinen Dirigent haben. Was anders sein wird, ist, dass wir das Publikum neu integrieren. Wir werden uns treu bleiben, aber es wird wieder ein neues Format.
Wirklich jeder hat die Möglichkeit, was mit einzubringen. Und das ist einfach ein unglaublich großer Schatz, den wir dann nutzen können.
That you see that there's a lot of variety, even in that world. If you just said, is a typical, let's say, jazz musician or free improvisation musician looking at that world and saying, oh, it's very, strict and confined, and then you're not really appreciating either the history or the methodology that people get to playing music. I'm very impressed with I would call it the theatrical, but I'm also, the musicianship. People are excellent musicians. To me, the most important thing is they played it with the proper spirit, that there's a sense of wildness and that feeling in music where it's not constrained, because especially in a thing like that, which to me Beethoven represents taming himself down, especially in that movement, to get to this universal feeling. But there's always that tension and intensity that's bubbling underneath it. To try to convey that type of energy, that's the way I'm hearing it. To me, it was great.
Yes, there is a concept we are using now, which is like the people is like a living scenography, because now we cannot really move because of Corona on a stage and get close to each other. So at the end we will all stay in our places and from there create like a background supporting image for the soloists, for the music.
Der Spaßfaktor ist, dass das eine Runde ist, wo man unglaublichen Austausch erlebt. Das kommt dadurch, dass wir verschiedene Nationalitäten haben, dass wir verschiedene Herkünfte haben, auch teilweise sozusagen aus dem Familienbereich, sozialen Bereich und ob wir Jazzmusiker oder klassische Musiker sind. Und es ist so schön, dass das alles zusammengewürfelt wird und es wird so für einen Moment einfach nicht egal, weil es uns das prägt, aber es wird egal, weil es einfach darum geht, dass wir zueinander kommen und ein großer Spaßfaktor ist für mich einfach diese Entwicklung zu erleben.
Was wunderschön ist, dass einfach jeder Einzelne wahnsinnig viel Input geben kann. Einfach Wissen oder Ideen und einfach qualitativ was dazu beitragen kann. Dadurch wächst das Ensemble einfach unglaublich.
Tegreif is an orchestra that requires a unique set of skills. As artists, we strive for creativity, inventive approaches, and expressive freedom. We want to leave a mark in history. Therefore, one has to ask himself, why only express yourself with notes and music? Tegreif performs without a conductor and without any chairs or music stands. Our interdisciplinary approach has allowed space for visual connection with one another as well as with the audience. However, there is much more to that than a normal eye of the spectator can see. Our rehearsals start with body warm-ups. We nurture meditation and body awareness as an everyday routine. Many of the artists in the orchestra have experimented with different disciplines. And as musicians, we carefully listen to what our body needs. Personally, as a wind player, I find it much easier to rehearse after we've done a 10 to 20 minute warm-up before playing. And precisely this kind of work has allowed us to feel more comfortable on stage with movement, with dancing, with climbing, with performing barefoot in the halls. I remember when I joined Tegreif 4 years ago that it was so strange for me to perform barefoot. And only a year later, I was performing on a classical festival in the United States with the string quartet, and wearing shoes felt unnatural. I've never in my life imagined that I would play laying down on the floor of the Concerthaus while I was surrounded with audience sitting on that same floor. In the end, these different disciplines and approaches we use have allowed us to grow both musically and artistically.
As we move more and more out of our comfort zone, what was once unknown and frightening becomes your new normal.
Was für mich ganz präsent war, war immer wieder so ein ganz starkes Gefühl der Dankbarkeit, mit solchen Menschen gemeinsam sein zu dürfen, gemeinsam arbeiten zu dürfen. In so einem Umfeld, was so liebevoll und wohlwollend ist. Ich glaube, das können wir gar nicht genug schätzen, was für ein großes Geschenk das ist.